YouTube. It's one anti-hero here. What's going on? So, my New York regional experience. Before I wanted to get into it, I just want to give a couple of quick shout outs. Shout out to Joe Bogley. He actually, my good friend, won first at that regional, going X and 1 with, I believe, Burning Abyss. He was running a few techs. His profile is actually, I think it's on Vexcus' channel. If not, the next time I see him, I might ask him for a deck profile, depending on how things go. But yeah, shout out to him. He hasn't played competitively like in a event in like a few months. I think since like July, he said, or something. So it's good to see him back on top. Pause. Also, shout out to my friend Matt. He was on my channel before. He was the guy with the perfect hero deck. He actually took a Spirit Shaddolls and got 16th. So that was his first invite, top, whatever you want to call it. So I just want to give a big shout out to him because, he did his thing. Man did his thing, It was been a long time coming, so shout out to him. Shout out to my other boys, Mikey. He was one win away from getting his invite as well. My boy Kevin Giles did pretty good as well. And shout out to my boy Chris, who was also one win away from getting an invite. So it's always next time, fellas. Though there's 3 regionals that are close to me in December, so you guys might see me at least one of those. Hopefully more than one of those. But anyways, so let me get right into it. This is kind of my story, I guess you could say, and it was rough. I had a lot of fun hanging out with people. I met some cool people. But dueling wise, it was a really rough day for me. Let me just explain the major point details. I did take shadows, and a couple things I learned from my adventure is, one, play what you're comfortable with. I keep preaching this over and over, and I didn't listen to my own advice as usual. And I didn't play a bad deck, like a bad version, but I listened to a lot of people when they gave me insights on the deck. They're like, oh, this is good, this is good, this is good. And they were good, but it just wasn't my playstyle, I guess. And I think that cost me a couple games. So it is what it is. I learned from my mistakes. But so I ended up going 2-3-1 and dropped. I started off 1-1, and then I faced my friend Chris, and we ended up drawing. So that was 1-1-1. Then this is where things get downhill, I guess you can say, from here. I played a guy who was playing Burning Abyss, and game 1 took forever. He was kind of more a slower player. Not saying he was slow playing or anything like that. He just took a lot of time to make his moves. And at one point, I had Window and Construct out. He had Rise out. He summoned BLS. And he attacks Window with BLS. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he attacks Construct with BLS. And I'm like, oh, BLS dies. He's like, oh, what does that do? I'm like, and I told him to automatically kill special summon monsters when it's attacked or is attacked at the start of the damage shot. And he took the attack back. And I let him. So it was just as much his fault as it was my fault, or the other way around, to sound better. But yeah, so I messed up. I let him take it back, and that kind of started my downward spiral. I lost the match because of that. So it's just, I shouldn't have let it happen, but I did. So I was 1-2-1 at this point. Then I played Dragon Rulers and I won, so I was 2-2-1. Then I lost the Shaddolls in time. So it's just, I feel like that Burning Abyss player started my downward spiral. Even though I won the next match, but the next match I lost in time to somebody who kind of didn't know what he was doing. And like, I just feel like if I ran my version or, did things my own way, I feel like I would have did better. But I'm not blaming that. Like, I'm not making excuses or anything like that. I didn't perform well, plain and simple. So it kind of sucks, but that's how my New York regional went, dueling wise. Unfortunately, I would give you guys a deck profile, but I borrowed some cards, so I don't have all those cards anymore. And I don't know, it was a rough day for me. But I do plan on getting my revenge and my invite by the end of this year. So, I'll be at either New Jersey or a couple of New York ones. There's one in Brooklyn, one in Catskill again, where we just were, and then one somewhere in New Jersey. I forgot where, some random city. So stay tuned for all that. I don't even know. Like I'm still a little salty about, just letting the guy take the attack back, and just overall how I perform with the day. It just makes me salty. and also that like I lost myself in a sense because I let things happen that way and I shouldn't have. So it is what it is. It just a lesson learned, I guess. So I might